What's up?
Hey,
You know,
what's
I'm
going
going
on?
to I'm just going, this song popped in my head while we were waiting for the intro. I'm going to the Brandy and Monica concert, and the song that popped up in my head was a song. It goes a little something like this. Just one of them days. I was just thinking one of these days we're gonna have an intro. That's what I was
Oh
thinking.
wow, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing.
Hey boo.
Mm, mm, interesting.
Nah, it's all good. How you doing?
Know how you doing now, girl? Hey, hey, hey,
Hey,
hey, hey.
hey. welcome, you guys. Even on summer break, the teachers are here. Okay. Um, what in the world? Oh, okay, here we go. We have a couple of articles to bring to you guys today. I want to let you guys know before we get started. Actually, the article we didn't talk about this offline. We normally do. The best and worst schools. It's funny because I was gonna bring that up anyway. But before we get into that, I just want to read you something that I literally just saw right before we went live. Um, we are about a month out before school starts. I'm not sure exactly what day I have to report to work. I don't worry about those things until August. Um, but I just saw this. The school district that I work for. I want you to listen to the following things, El Teddy. A month before school starts, I want you to hear this. We're hiring. Join our team as a teacher in all areas. All areas. We just need a teacher for anything.
Anything.
Substitute teachers, bus drivers, dedicated aides, special education staff, registered school nurse, paraprofessionals, food service workers, custodians. They are having a job fair. First of all, this thing is outdated, child. This say July the 9th. They didn't already had that job fair. But listen, is it unusual for for them to still be hiring before school starts? Yes, sure. But that sounds like a lot going on. And they say teachers in all areas.
I saw your good girlfriend Lisa Murkowski. She put out
Ain't my good girlfriend.
social media post saying she's afraid that the Department of Education withholding that $6.8 billion may cause school closures.
You think?
Really,
You think?
girl, I don't have the energy. I do not. I don't have the energy for Lisa
Tracy,
Murkowski.
every department is hiring. We need English teachers, math teachers, social studies teachers,
Everything.
gym
You
teachers.
you
Sound like
everything.
everybody. Just
Everything.
all of them. Just all of them. With that being said, welcome to the Teacher Project, because this is what we do here. Last week, you guys, was not a good week for me. And as a result, the doctor got to run roughshod all over this podcast last week. He had a whole spike moment. Because that's what he does. Okay.
Wait. How did I get thrown under the what did I do last week? Did I really have a
I
moment
just
last week? Or
you
did
wait
you
a
have a
minute.
moment?
You absolutely had a moment last week.
You had a moment last week.
You did too. It was
I don't even
warranted.
I don't
Listen, it
even
was
remember
warranted from
what
both of us.
warranted that moment last week.
I think it was warranted from both of us because because
I don't even remember what we went off about, what the spike
we
out
went
was
off
about.
about the Supreme Court ruling as it relates to Department of Education.
Oh,
Exactly. See now you understand. Now you remember. Now you remember.
then there's that.
Then there's that. But anyway, Tracy said, I think you might not need a custodian. I think you are fully staffed in that department. Well, that ain't according to what the people said. So let's get into it. let's talk. You want to start there? You want to start with the best and worst school systems, or do you want to talk about North
Let's
Carolina?
save the best and worst school systems for last because that's going to take some breaking down, and you'll probably have to
Okay,
share a screen or something so
no
people can
problem.
see the report.
No problem. So you want to do this Harvard thing? I feel like we've been talking about Harvard. You want to do this Harvard thing and then get
Yeah, let's
into
get
North
Harvard out the
Carolina?
way. Hmm.
Yeah, let's just go ahead because listen. At the end of the day, let's just get Harvard out the way. Because when we're talking about, let me just get Harvard out the way. I'm pulling up the article now, y'all. Here we go. We ready? This is coming from ABC News. This article is dated July the 22nd. It says, beyond Harvard, conservative efforts to reshape higher education are gaining steam. Oh, you think? You think? Far beyond Harvard University and its standoff with the Trump administration, Republican officials in several states have been pushing for changes at public universities. Ken Buckley never went to Harvard, but he has been wearing a crimson Harvard cap in a show of solidarity. As he sees it, the Trump administration's attacks on the school echo a case of government overreach at his own alma mater of Indiana University. Beckley, a former head of the school's alumni association, rallied fellow graduates this spring in an unsuccessful effort to stop Governor Mike Braun, a Republican, from removing 3 alumni elected members from Indiana University's Board of Trustees and handpicking their replacements. No government effort to influence a university or private or public has gotten more attention than the clash at Harvard, where the Trump administration has frozen billions of dollars in federal funds as it seeks a series of policy changes. But far beyond the Ivy League, Republican officials are targeting public universities in several states with efforts seeking similar ends. What happened nationally is now affecting Indiana, said Beckley, who bought Harvard caps in bulk and passes them out to friends. Okay, I'm not even going to touch that because that don't make no sense to me, but okay. Officials in conservative states took aim at higher education before President Donald Trump began his second term, driven in part by the belief that colleges are out of touch, too liberal, and loading up students with too much debt. The first efforts focused on critical race theory, an academic framework centered on the idea that racism is embedded in the nation's institutions, and then on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. Since Trump took office, officials in states including Indiana, Florida, Ohio, Texas, Iowa, and Idaho increasingly have focused on university governance, rules for who picks university presidents and boards, and how much control they exert over curriculums and faculty tenure. As at Harvard, which Trump has decreed as overly influenced by liberal thinking, those policy priorities through those levers they have through the state university system, said Preston Cooper, a senior fellow who studies higher education policy at the Conservative American Enterprise Institute. In Indiana, Braun said he picked new trustees who will guide the school back in the right direction. They include an anti-abortion attorney and a former ESPN host who was disciplined because she criticized the company's policy requiring employees to be vaccinated against C-19. Braun's administration has ramped up scrutiny of hiring practices at colleges statewide. Indiana's Attorney General Todd Rokita has sent letters to the University of Notre Dame, Butler University, and DePaul University questioning the legality of their DEI programs. Butler, a private liberal arts school in Indianapolis, was founded by an abolitionist in the decade leading up to the Civil War and admitted women and students of color from the start. I hope that Butler will uphold the standards they were founded on, says Eden Curry, president of Butler's Black Student Union. Lord. In Florida, the State University System Board of June rejected longtime academic Santa Ono for the presidency at the University of Florida, despite unanimous vote of approval by the school's own Board of Trustees. The unprecedented reversal followed criticism from conservatives about Ono's past support for DEI programs. That followed the conservative makeover of the new College of Florida. We talked about that. Well, we talked about a lot of this. Anyway, a small liberal arts school once known as the state's most progressive. After Republican Governor Ron DeSantis appointed a group of conservatives to his governing board, many faculty left, including Amy Reed, who now manages a team focused on higher education in the free expression group PEN America. When our students started organizing at New College, one of their slogans was, "Your campus is next," said Reed, who saw the gender studies program she directed defunded and then cut. So, no, we're not surprised when you see other states redefining what can be in a general education class because we've seen it happen already. The article goes on to speak about Iowa and the DEI bans. Um, Let's talk about Texas. In Texas, Republican Governor Greg Abbott signed a pair of bills in June that impose new limits on student protests and give gubernatorial appointed boards that oversees the state's universities new powers to control the curriculum and eliminate degree programs. Cameron Samuels, executive director of Students Engaged in Advancing Texas, an advocacy group, said politicians in the state are taking control of universities to dictate what is acceptable. When someone controls the dissemination of ideas, that is a really dangerous sign for the future of democracy, Samuel said. The 21-year-old who is transgender and non-binary went to college in Massachusetts and got into Harvard for graduate school, but as the Trump administration began targeting the institution, he instead chose to return to his home state and attend the University of Texas in Austin. He said, "I at least knew what to expect." I guess he figured, I know what Texas is giving. That's my state. I know what Texas is giving. All right. What say you, Doc?
We have been forecasting and prognosticating this for some time now. I told you that it was intentional, that they were going after the Ivy Leagues, the elite of the elite first, so as to force anyone else to bend the knee or comply preemptively. State governors and state boards of education or board of regents or board of trustees or whatever board governs post-secondary education took their marching orders from this administration and went off from there. Let's talk about the diminution of the American colleges and universities as we know it, while we're simultaneously watching the death of this democratic republic. We see the diminution of what we knew to be great universities and post-secondary institutions. While American education is faltering in K through 12 and is at the bottom rung with regard to industrialized countries with regard to K through 12 education, post-secondary education is still at the very top. American colleges and universities are still, well, I should say, in recent history, have been still considered elite, at the top in terms of providing sound education and worthwhile experiences in colleges and universities across the world. And so what these people want is they want an ignorant populace. They do not want any institution to continue to be a part of the American diaspora if it chooses to educate the American populace, if it chooses to allow them to be tolerant, if it allows them to be knowledgeable, if it allows them to be open to and I'm not going to even use those dreaded three words, but be open to the world. Be open to allowing your intellect to be expanded. They want no parts of that at all, at all. And so we see this attack on these institutions. What did they go after first? Really B is a scholar with regard to history. And the history of colleges and universities has always been protests and being at the forefront of liberal and progressive movements. And the first thing we did, and it didn't start with Trump, this started with the last administration. This is why I was screaming about this during the presidential campaign. There was an attack on colleges and universities at that time under Biden Harris. They were literally arresting peaceful protesters at colleges and universities that were having peaceful sit-ins on the lawn or on the quadrangle at their respective universities. They were telling faculty and staff and that they could not support the students, and were ceremoniously firing faculty and staff if they dared participate in any of the protests or even support students that were participating in peaceful protests. Now, where we rubber is hitting the pavement now is in the same way that they have altered the instructional material and educational process of K through 12. They are now infiltrating post-secondary. Now there are courses being summarily removed from college curriculum. You have this administration threatening accreditations of colleges because they do not agree with the political leanings of the university or its students and faculty and or staff. You literally have MAGA nuts and right-wing conservative governors now trying to form their own accreditation institutions so as to offer accreditations to universities that will be nothing but warehouses for propaganda. So now we are we are in fourth gear with regard to running this authoritarian dictatorship. Because if you know authoritarian dictatorships, they come after the media, they come after the courts, and they absolutely come after all universities and education. And we see all of that full throttle while they are, and I'm not saying this is a distraction, but while people are paying so much attention to what's going on with deportations, all of the infrastructure of a democratic republic are being torn away and removed, and nobody's sounding the alarm. And education was already on the back burner for most people. I just told you, we had people on the left that were okay with what the Biden Harris administration did at colleges and universities. And so there's this attack on education. I don't know that I should say, I'm sure this is not going to be fixed. And I can assure you the worst is yet to come. Let me be quiet. Go ahead.
So I keep telling people that we have to stop using words like we are headed towards. It could be, it's almost like we are absolutely in an authoritarian government. We're not headed there, you guys. We're there.
We're here.
We were talking about on my channel the other day, where we have to stop acting like certain things, certain words are off limits. Words mean things. And if the definition fits, it fits. When we talk about a concentration camp, we literally have concentration camps here in the United States right now. I don't want anybody to say, well, it's not like, yes, it is. It hasn't gotten there yet, but it started somewhere. The Holocaust started somewhere. When you tell me that black and brown people can literally just be picked up on the street simply for being black and brown with no with no you know what I'm saying, process, and our Supreme Court says, yeah, we don't need to do that. Yeah, that's not important. You know what I'm saying? So when we talk about education, things like fascism work in an ignorant and stupid society. And again, I'm going to use the word stupid because words mean things, and stupid is stupid. Google it. It just is what it is. It means things. And so when we talk about the education system is broken and it's this and it's this and it's this, it's by design. Now we buy into it by allowing it to happen, but it's by design. And like El Teddy said, they started at the top. Why do you think they started with Harvard and Columbia and Penn State and Northwestern? Like, they started at what we perceive to be the top. They started at that. You notice in that article that I just read, when they were talking about the infiltration of these colleges and what they're doing, when I scrolled down to Florida, y'all didn't hear them talk about Florida A&M, and we know they infiltrated Florida A&M. But that wasn't even in the article. Why wasn't it in the article? Because to them, that part ain't even important. They ain't worried about what they done to Florida A&M. They don't care about that.
They started with the top, UF. Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? They didn't even make the article, and we know what happened at what happened at Florida A&M. What's happening at Florida A&M. So that lets you know right there where even the people who are writing these articles to let you know what's going on, that lets you know that the importance isn't even there for them with that. They don't care about these HBCUs and these, dare I say, little, I was going to say another word, but I'm going to be nice. Little black kids. They don't care. Let's head on over to North Carolina, child. Let's just get in the car.
While you're pulling that up, let me say this too. This money is causing administrations to capitulate. We're talking about Columbia just issued hundreds of suspensions of 1 to 3 years and full expulsions to students who participated in peaceful protests. We have colleges withholding degrees that have been earned and paid for because they didn't like what they protested against.
Exactly. Well, look at Penn State. They stripped the transgender swimmer of her awards, her you know what I'm saying, her medals. She won those awards 3 years ago. She won those races 2 or 3 years ago. She's not even a student at Penn State anymore. But like you said, in order to capitulate to the demands of this administration, Penn State had to, ceremoniously strip this transgender swimmer of their awards, their accolades, their records. Now, at the end of the day, you can feel how you feel about transgender men and women competing in sports, but in the grand scheme of things, something that a student did 2 years ago, does that really matter? Like, what is the point? Because we know what the point really is about. And they did it. Penn State bent the knee. All right? Okay. Let's talk about North Carolina. Now, I lived in North Carolina for a few years, went to college in North Carolina. So let's see what they got going on down there. This article is from July the 21st. It is coming from Rising Trends. It is called North Carolina's Unbelievable and Embarrassing Disinvestment in Public Education. Well, damn. Tell us how you really feel. All right. It is unbelievable and embarrassing that our public schools, pre-K through 12, are where they are today, ranking 48th in the nation in per student funding and 49th in funding effort. This, while our state is booming economically and ranked number 1 nationally as the best climate for business. What is wrong? Do our state legislatures not care, or do we not care as the voting public? All right, let's read through these facts. It says, please read the following disgusting facts. So here we go. Research shows that school funding, both the amount and how it is spent, has a significant impact on student outcomes, including test scores and graduation rates. This relationship is especially strong for low-income students. North Carolina ranks 48th in the country in per-student spending, falling nearly $5,000 below the national average, and 49th in funding effort, or the amount of spending on public education as a percentage of the state's economy GDP. Teacher pay. Low compensation is consistently cited as the top reason educators are considering leaving their jobs, and incentives previously provided to encourage candidates to enter and remain in the teaching profession have largely been eliminated, i.e. longevity pay, master's pay, retiree health benefits. Damn, they don't pay nobody for masters? Yes, okay. North Carolina ranks 39th in the nation for starting teacher pay at about $42,500 on average, and 43rd in the nation for average teacher pay at $58,300. Average pay in North Carolina fell more than $13,700 below the national average salary of $72,000 and below the minimum living wage for one adult and one child at $58,411. North Carolina educators earn 25% less than comparable college graduates. Baby, I'm stuck on them numbers. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. What? Wait, what? Hold on. What? The average starting salary for a teacher in the state of North Carolina is $58,000. Do you know what my starting salary was when I first started teaching in DC public schools in 2000?
I ain't gonna tell you what mine was. It was
in
embarrassing.
1990. Wait a minute. I started teaching in 1999. I was right before Y2K. My first full year of teaching in DC public schools was 1999. Do you know what my starting salary was 20-something years ago?
I ain't
It
gonna
was
tell you what mine was.
$30,000. It was
Mine was
$30,000. That
mine
was
was
20-something years
26.
ago. 26. That was 20-something years ago. I cannot imagine. And I understand that the cost of living is cheaper in North Carolina, but baby, it ain't that much cheaper. Not when the country average is 72. You're $20,000 below the average salary in the country. I'm sorry. The numbers just cool. The numbers caught me. Hold on. And they wonder why. Woo! Moving right along. Working conditions. Teachers are the number one school-related factor in student outcomes. Teachers are experiencing significant burnout due to increasing workloads and class sizes, challenging working conditions, and lack of adequate support staff. Yes, I could attest to all of that. Attrition for North Carolina teachers was nearly 10%, and the vacancy rate is 7.6% in the 2023-24 school year. The burnout rate for K-12 educators outpaces all other professions nationally. I can account for that. I can attest to that too. North Carolina has the fourth highest out-of-pocket spending by teachers on classroom supplies. Wait, what? So you are below the average, but they're fourth highest in out-of-pocket expense? Okay. Taxpayer-funded private school voucher expansion and inclusion. Now here we go. El Teddy. All roads lead to the vouchers. All right, let's talk about it. In 2023, the North Carolina General Assembly expanded the Opportunity Scholarship Program, which is just a fancy name for taxpayer-funded vouchers. They extended it to include eligibility for all families with no income gap. Y'all, we've been telling y'all this. We have been talking about this. Legislators also removed the requirements of having previously attended public schools. So let me break down what that means. And I know I keep stopping, but I have to. What that means is a child whose parents can afford to send them to Greensboro Prep. My girl Cruz is in the chat. She know Greensboro Prep. That can afford to send their kids to Greensboro Prep. It's Greensboro Prep, right? Private school. can now apply for a voucher, and they can save that. I don't know how much it costs now, but let's just say $50,000 a year to send their kids, or Greensboro Day, whatever one it is, the private school, the big private school in Greensboro. Now they don't have to have already had their kid in public school, and there's no income gap. I mean, no income requirement. So if you make $300,000 a year, you can apply for a voucher to send your kid to the school they already been going to. Okay, then. Let's keep it moving. Of the top 200 schools receiving vouchers, 89% discriminate in the admission process in the same way, in some way, IG, religion, sexual orientation, disability, gender identity, family values, academics. Access to state-funded pre-K. Only 57% of eligible 4-year-olds are enrolled in state-funded North Carolina pre-K. Student test scores. In 2024, 37% of 3rd through 8th graders in North Carolina earned a college and career-ready score on the end of grade math exam. In 2024, 31% of 3rd through 8th graders in North Carolina earned a college and career-ready score in the end of grade reading exam. 31%. Okay. Significant academic achievement gaps persist across racial and socioeconomic demographics. The House version of the state budget this year looks very good and supportive of our public schools, especially our teachers. That's thanks in large part to Representative Danny Lambeth, who's a Republican from Forsyth County, but House members need support in their negotiation with the Senate. All North Carolinians should lend their voice to this cause. We can and must do better. And Cruiser, I'll send you this link. And anybody else from North Carolina that wants this link so you can find out how to support the current legislation. Listen, I know I took my pauses while I was reading that, but as somebody who was still on the front lines in the classrooms, y'all see where this is going, right? Y'all see where this is going. All of the money is being funneled into students who already have the advantages that they need to be successful on a general basis. That's a very general statement, but on a general basis, kids who are already in a private school are now eligible to compete against kids who live in the hood, whose parents may be a single parent, whose income maybe below the poverty line or just below $50,000 a year. Hell, the teachers in the state of North Carolina need the vouchers. They can't even afford to send their kids. Child. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, Doc. You got it. Because you know I can do this all day. You know. You got it, Doc.
The spike out that is emanating in that young lady right here, inside of her right here, the spike out that is, bubbling up. Listen, this is not just a North Carolina problem.
It's not. It's not.
Red states across America are notorious for this. And I'm just going to be honest. Red states across America are notorious for this. They want you to basically be slaves. And I ain't going to even put it mildly. You want these people to work in a profession where you don't give them any of the resources that they need to do the job, right? You want them to get advanced degrees and rake up student debt in order to get the job. And then when they get on the job, you provide them with zero resources. None. What you ask teachers to do would be like you asking doctors to supply their own syringes and supply their own PPD equipment and things like that. Supply their own MRI machines and supply. You're asking people to work and spend all of their own money to do said work. You're not paying them extra money to supply those resources. You're already underpaying them. Then to add insult to injury, you want them to continue to work outside of work hours, where the bulk of their work is outside of work hours, and still underpay them. And then you wonder why people are leaving. It's idiocy. It's such idiocy. But here we are. Here we are. I would use better other words had I been on my channel, but I'm not going to do that here. Here we are. Here we are. Go ahead, ma'am.
No, I mean, listen, everything you just said, when they say they don't even get paid for master's differential, I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Excuse me? The pay scale, what? At the end of the day, you guys, at the beginning of this, I talked about the district where I work, all of the vacancies, basically every position, they hiring for every daggone position. I remember once upon a time when people were hiring like right before school started, and they would have these job fairs for teachers and stuff. Because let's be clear, they're always looking for people. Like that's just the thing. But usually by now, it's specific positions. They're like, oh, we're looking for math teachers. We're looking for language teacher. Like there was specific. They just like, all y'all come. Just everybody come. Just everybody come. We need all y'all up in here.
Mm-hmm.
That is ridiculous. Yeah, that's all I got. It's ridiculous. Like I kind of did my commentary as I was reading through the article because
You did. You
I'm
were
still
about
stuck.
to strike out.
Yeah,
And I
I'm
was
still stuck
proud
on
that you didn't.
$58,000. I'm just telling you, I am. I'm still stuck on $58,000. Just stuck right there. I'm stuck right there at $58,000. That's where I'm stuck. And I'm not even just stuck at $58,000. I'm stuck at it being almost $20,000 below the average. You know what I'm saying? Like that, you're below the average. You're that significantly below the average in the United States. That's where I'm stuck. I'm stuck right there. Anyway, are we ready to get into this last article? Oh, as a matter of fact, I'm sorry. Elsa, do you want to start reading it? I gotta step away for a quick second. Or you can
Okay,
just
I
wait till
will, because you're gonna have to share screen on this one, but I'll start reading the article.
All
Okay.
right, go ahead and I'll share the screen when I
Okay.
get back.
All right. So this next this last article is a report that comes out yearly. And it ranks each state in terms of their education, the worst and best school systems in by state. Let me read this to you. Securing a child's academic success begins with choosing the right schools. But how can parents decide where to enroll their kids? Because children develop and learn at different rates, the ideal answer to that question varies based on each state's needs. Those needs have become even more specialized in the face of significant inflation and economic uncertainty, which have strained family resources and affected students' academic performance and well-being. Unfortunately, most parents can't afford to place their children in exclusive private or preparatory schools that give their students greater individual attention. For the majority of U.S. families, public education is the only option. The quality of public school systems varies widely from state to state, though, and is often a question of funding. Public elementary and secondary education money usually flows from three sources: the federal, state, and local governments. According to the U.S. Department of Education, states contribute nearly as much as the local governments, while the federal government supplies the smallest share. Some researchers have found that more resources or tax paid residents typically result in better school system performances. Unlike other research that focuses primarily on academic outcomes or school finance, Wallet Hub's analysis, and that's the report here, takes a more comprehensive approach. It accounts for performance, funding, safety, class size, and instructor credentials. Those are the things that they're basing this ranking and reporting on. Let me say that again. Uh, um, this report accounts for performance, funding, safety, class size, and instructor credentials. To determine the top performing school systems in America, Wallet Hub compared the 50 states and the District of Columbia across 32 metrics. All right. Is Really Be back? Oh, there she is.
I was sharing the screen.
Oh, I was reading, so I couldn't see the screen. All right, you can
Oh,
scroll down. So
keep going. Tell me when to stop.
keep going because it gets to the rankings. When you go past, there it is. When you go past the map. All right, so now you can see how each state ranked from 1 through 51, which includes District of Columbia. Massachusetts is number 1. I'm trying to see where the first red state is. I guess you would consider Virginia kind of red. It's
Connecticut.
purplish.
Yeah, Virginia. Well, Virginia is purple, but yeah, I would say Virginia.
Maybe Indiana is the first fully red state that you have
Yeah.
in the top 10. And then after that, you go to Utah at 11.
Oh, Maryland's 9. Okay, go ahead, Maryland. All right.
Mm-hmm. I
Nebraska's
want to see what
13.
I want to see what these states in the Holy Trinity fall. The Texas is in Florida and maybe
Well, Arkansas
Tennessee,
is at the bottom.
Tennessee and stuff like that. Florida is 2021. I'm surprised at that. Florida usually ranks pretty
North
high with
Carolina
regards
is
to education.
31. Oh, wait a minute. Florida, I went too fast. Florida is
I'm
21.
surprised at that. Florida is usually pretty high in terms of rankings in education.
Okay, well, North
North
Carolina
Carolina
is
is 31.
31. Texas is
Tennessee is
32.
26.
Arkansas is 34. Mississippi 40, South Carolina 41. Damn, Hawaii 42. Ain't but 20 y'all. No, shut up. Alabama 43, Louisiana 44, West Virginia 45, Nevada 46,
Mm-hmm.
Arizona 48, Alaska 49, Oklahoma
Look
is
what
50.
you know what's so funny? Because we be over here talking about Oklahoma all the time and all of their antics and all of this foolery that they be having going on down to the Oklahoma. And look where you are. Look where you are, Oklahoma. I'm looking
Well,
at the
that's like
bottom.
Arkansas. Arkansas ain't much better. Arkansas is, what they were in the 40s. And
No,
Huckabee,
well, no, Arkansas done moved up. They at 34. I guess that's moving up. They're higher than
I
Michigan
mean,
and Georgia.
well, that's true. Damn, Georgia 38. Goodness.
If you look at numbers 40 all the way down to 51, I'm trying to look at the blue states down there. You got Hawaii, Oregon, and New Mexico. New Mexico, y'all got a lot going on. Y'all also rank really high, New Mexico, with regard to crime and things like that in New Mexico as well, believe it or not. Y'all need to overhaul with who's running stuff over there. What are y'all doing?
I don't know what they got going on. Hmm.
So
Child.
that's
Yeah, I don't know
crazy.
what they got going on.
Now,
Let's
if
see
you
what the
keep going
dropout rate.
down,
Let's look
yeah,
at the
keep
dropout
scrolling down.
rates. So the dropout rate, the lowest dropout rate, West Virginia has the lowest dropout rate. The highest dropout rate is Idaho, Alaska, Arizona, New Mexico, and the District of Columbia. Huh. Math scores highest Massachusetts, Utah, Minnesota, New Jersey, New Hampshire. Lowest Arkansas, West Virginia, District of Columbia, Alaska, and New Mexico.
Mm,
Mm.
that's interesting. That's very interesting. If you click show more, go back up and click show more. It'll give you some more stats. It'll give
Oh,
you
let's
reading
look at some more.
scores.
Reading scores highest Massachusetts is New Jersey, Colorado, New Hampshire, Connecticut. Lowest Delaware, Oklahoma, West Virginia, Alaska, New Mexico. Median SAT scores, which really don't matter anymore. Nobody cares about SAT. But anyway, Iowa, Kansas, Wyoming, North Dakota, Nebraska, Utah. Lowest Delaware, Florida, West Virginia, District of Columbia, New Mexico. Median ACT score, highest is California, Connecticut, District of Columbia. Oh, so DC's lowest on SAT, but highest on ACT. So, I mean, okay. Lowest
But
Louisiana,
in a lot of
Mississippi.
I mean to cut you off, but in a lot of primarily black areas, they promote more ACT than they do SAT. I've never been a big fan of that as someone who uh, uh um don't feel like there's a one size fits all for everyone, because I remember in high school they would tell me, oh, you'll do better on the ACT, and I did horribly on the ACT, but I did phenomenally on the SAT. It was the complete opposite for me.
Yeah, I
um
took them both, and I mean, I think it was pretty comparable for me. I think I did better on the ACT, but not ridiculously better. You know what I mean? Student to pupil
oh, they
ratio.
said put the link in the chat. I'm sorry.
Okay, I will. Vermont, District of Columbia, they have the lowest. Maine, New Hampshire, New York. The highest is Florida, Utah, Nevada, California, Arizona. That's interesting.
That's very interesting,
That's
because that highest is just all over the place. Like that's a big mix of all over the place. Florida, California, Arizona, Nevada, Utah. That's all over the place.
that's interesting. Now that stat is very interesting to me. Huh. Okay. That's something that I might have to. That's interesting. Okay. Percentage of threatened, injured high school students. Oh, the lowest is Delaware, California, North Carolina, Maine, and Massachusetts. The highest is Idaho, Texas, Kansas, Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. Idaho? What
Idaho.
are they doing to the students in Idaho?
Baby, what are they doing to each other, honey?
I mean,
I think
what in the world?
that's
Like,
more
what
of what are they
what is
doing
going
to
on
each
in
other, honey?
Idaho? Good
Idaho
Lord.
said we about that, like we about this.
Okay.
Come
Child.
over here if you want to with the foolishness.
You can nuck if you buck over here if you want to. Okay. Bullying incident rates. The lowest is not the lowest is the District of Columbia. Delaware, Hawaii, Rhode Island, and Virginia. The highest is Iowa, Wyoming, New Hampshire, West Virginia, and Alaska. Alaska!
I'm surprised that DC being the lowest.
Listen, I live here. Let me tell you something. They ain't reporting them because it ain't nowhere in hell.
I'm looking like, oh,
It must just be they not reporting it because it ain't nowhere in.
I'm looking like, oh.
Bye. Bye. I put the link in the chat, you guys. Child. And then the rest of the article just explains how they came up with the ranking, what data they used, and what points they got, and that's how they came up with the ranking. Child, I'm stuck on that student teacher ratio and DC being the lowest when it comes to bullying. I'm stuck on both of those.
You for Alaska,
Everybody
though,
got gangs though, Fuser. Not they bored in Alaska. Now that might be it right there, child. They might just be
And you
bored,
got a
child.
lot of military brats over in Alaska too.
That's true too. Yeah, that's true. And they do have a large indigenous population, so I can see where some of the bullying may be coming in place. I mean, it's dark. What, 12, 10 months out the year? I mean, what you?
Not 10 months.
Well, I'm exaggerating, but you know what I'm saying. Folks graduate from
But
high school and can't read. Oh, yeah, yeah.
but it's interesting
Child.
each year to see some of these reports and where people rank. Like I always say, these some of these larger reports and larger assessments of state educations really are responsible for determining who and what is the gets money and funding and so forth.
A mother of some military brat said, "Don't blame the military brat. I'm just playing with your Cruz. I ain't calling your babies brats. I'm just playing with you." For Cruz will be cussing me out, child. Don't you be calling my baby no brats. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
already, hey, you know how many military brats it is in North Carolina? We already know they be nuck if you buck over there with all of them
okay.
military people over there. Child.
I'm gonna be
Oh,
honest and say that it is interesting. It's always interesting to see where these states land. But what's also interesting, and this is something we were just talking about when we were looking at the states, to see where the states that have been giving us the most problem, that have been creating the most controversial policies, where they're ranking. And I just feel like y'all are paying attention to the wrong shit. I mean, I'm just saying. If these states were in the top 10, then I'd be like, well, El Teddy, I mean, what they doing is crazy, but it's working for somebody. But you're not.
you're not.
You're not.
Mm-mm.
One of
And
my
that's
bats probably in the
unfortunate.
bushes. Hey, boo. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, though, that's where, and I mean, don't get me wrong, it still will be wrong what they're doing. I'm not excusing it. But if what they were doing was actually working for the vast majority of the students in their state, then I might say, well, El Teddy, I don't know. We gotta look and see what they're doing because it's working for somebody, but it's not. So not only are you doing the things that you're doing, it's not even helping the kids that you're trying to help. Because we know you don't care about the colored kids. You don't care about them. But it's not helping anybody. It's just, I mean,
Mm.
especially Arkansas. My gosh. And I just gotta be in my bonnet for Arkansas. So, just call me biased. I
Child.
gotta be in my bonnet for Arkansas, okay?
You do. And you know I can't stand Governor
Because the
Quasimodo
Huckabee,
over
it
there.
just because of
You
that
know
smash
Governor
face,
Quasimodo gives me gas.
her smash face tail. Okay, let me stop before let me stop. I'm gonna be good this week. I'm gonna be good this week. I'm gonna be good this week.
She
Okay.
gives me gas.
Oh, child. Beyond. So, you guys, that is what we have for you guys this week. I did put that link in the chat for and let me put the link for the other article on North Carolina in the chat for my North Carolina. Well, I mean, just anybody, but specifically for my North Carolina people. Let me get that link for you guys as well. Stay vigilant. Can't get the words out. Stay vigilant, you guys, because again, not to pat ourselves on the back or toot our own horns, toot. But a lot of these things that are coming to fruition, we told you they were trends, and we saw the trends, and let me just say, El Teddy, because he do the research. I ain't gonna take he do the research, but he saw the trends, and we reported on these trends. We just like we talked to you guys before during with the Panorama, but we talked about these things, right? We talked about how they were using the school vouchers. We talked about how they were passing legislation attacking DEI, and they were going to use that to eliminate any and everything that's connected to a minority programming. We even talked about how it could affect D9. We had that conversation over a year ago. Well, we talked about D9 being attacked and them infiltrating. And now look at where we are. We have, I'm sorry. I just had a thought in mid-sentence. Never mind. But and look at what we're dealing with now, you guys, right? So, oh no, I just gave y'all the same link. Hold on, let me give y'all the North Carolina link. I copied the wrong link. Oh no, yes it is. That's the link for North Carolina. That's the link. That's the link for North Carolina. All right. The handling of bullies in Alabama is horrible. I handle those situations myself. And that's what I'm going to be honest. Can I be honest? And let's call a thing a thing. And all of us who are in education already know what I'm about to say. Baby, they can only assess what's being reported. Ain't nobody going to sit here and tell me that DC is number one when it comes to bullying. I mean, I know somebody has to be number one, but it ain't DC. Now, how they're categorizing these incidents, how they're writing up these incidents so they don't get reported as a bullying incident, that might be a different conversation. But you ain't gonna sit here and tell me. I worked in DC. I live here. If DC, let me just put it this way. If DC is number one in the least amount of bullying incidents, I really hate to see what the other 50, because it includes DC, so it'll be 50 other states. What the other 50 states got going on. Now I'm gonna say that and I'm gonna leave that right there. I'll tell you, I want some crabs.
Oh,
I know that came out of nowhere, didn't it?
it did. Don't tempt me with a good time. Do not tempt me with a good time, buddy.
Yeah, like all of a
You
sudden,
already
it just hit
did.
me while I was talking. It hit me while I was talking. I said, "Wait a minute,
Girl. Do not tempt me with a good time.
child." But anyway, we get ready to head over to El Teddy's schoolhouse. I am sure he's yelling at some people today.
Oh,
Are
I'm
you
going to
going live at
drag Laverne
5?
Cox. Oh, I'm going to dog walk her today. I am. Oh, yes.
Okay. Did she do something else?
Oh, yes.
I mean, I know she went live again, but did she go live a third time?
No. This is things that she's posting now to justify her baby. The way I'm finna dog walk her,
That lady said that she makes sure you get your crabs, El Teddy.
that is Demetria, and she sure do. She do.
Well, you make sure that El Teddy get his crabs, honey. The only reason why I might not go today is because I just don't feel like driving. I just came from with a crab, drove right past one of my crab spots to get here. If I had stopped to get crabs, I'd have been late. So
anyway,
I may get some crabs tomorrow when I leave the gym. When I leave the gym, I may get me some crabs tomorrow. Because I picked up a salad for dinner tonight. So I already have dinner. I'm going to eat this salad. I'm going to be good and eat this salad. But I might get me some crabs tomorrow. All right, you guys, we get ready to get out of here.
Yeah, I had to go to this meeting.
Thank y'all for being here. We appreciate it. El Teddy will be ready at 5. And I will come on. What up, Don Don? Hey, boo. Don Don Unfiltered. Okay. And I will be on after him. And we will see you guys there. All right. Talk to y'all later. Oh, something flowing around in here. All right. This could be the outro.